Maniki!
One Summer is the story about two Scouse lads in the 80s who run away to Wales.
Boys on adventure, with a twist.
You got any ciggies?
Nah.
Any money?
5p?
It's enough for a phone call. Should we do Wally?
His missus might be there.
Yeah, come on.
One lad, Billy, who I play, his mum wins a lot of money on the bingo, and he decides to use that money in order to escape his life, really.
Are you coming or what?
To Wales?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What would your ma say if you just disappeared?
There's 10 of us in our family. It was 3 months before she realised I was missing.
Are you coming then?
Where are you going? I'm not hanging around here on my own.
Come on then.
We're going on holiday. Get out of this shit.
I'd describe One Summer as an odyssey of two young men who, for various reasons have to leave their hometown and find themselves absolutely lost in a foreign, alien countryside. But it is an odyssey, it's a journey, an adventure.
I mean, it's got all the things that you want from an adventure story. Two kids leaving behind their environment, going to a world they don't know, and meeting people they would never have met before, and how that changes their lives.
Where about do you want to go to, lad?
Wales.
Jesus, why do I always get the funny buggers? Hang on. These'll get you to Wales, son.
I think it's something that was really well made and very honest, and obviously well written, and gave me and Dave and Ian the opportunity to do something quite special.
I got involved in the project because they sort of interviewed, Jokes Television came to Liverpool and they interviewed every young actor in Liverpool, or people who weren't actors, everybody really. They came to every school, every youth theatre, every sort of youth club in Liverpool. And they saw, the first off, they saw everyone.
My God, who have we got here then?
Sir, it's us. Sir Tigson and Risley, sir.
The casting process was long and torturous. I mean, we went around drama schools, colleges, we interviewed lots and lots of kids.
So I go along and there's maybe 400 people there, and then they say come back next week and there's 100 people there, and then they say come back a week later and there's 40, and then so on and so forth.
I went along for an audition, having heard that I think they'd been around a long time. There'd been several auditions already, and they'd spent a lot of time looking for people. Went along, we're just glad to go along and meet people, did an interview and read some of the script and felt really at home with it and thought, wow, this is great. Got a call back and I was like, wow, can't believe I've got a call back. So read more. I think they actually, I can't remember if they gave us some pages, but I just remember thinking I could play this part. And there was lots of things I could relate to.
I can't remember. I think in the first one it was a bit like Miss World. We just all had like numbers on our hands, and she just went, "Okay, number 22, you can come through." All those without mum step forward. Where are you going, Lewis? No, it was. And then we auditioned, and Ian and I tended to audition together because we were mates.
Obviously, being from Liverpool, we could all relate to certain things. Again, did another audition and they called me back. And then I think did they bring us into, I'm not sure if they brought us in together. I can't remember if they did that, but I remember the third time after, I think it was at least 3 auditions, and they said, you've got the part, and I actually couldn't believe it. And it was like one of those fantastic things, you're like, wow.
And then they took us to Leeds for the day for a screen test. And I didn't have a phone at the time, so I had a job. They gave me one job, and then they took it off me again because producers didn't like me. Story of my life, really. And so you have to send me a telegram. A telegram man came to my mum's house with a telegram saying, ring this number. So I went to a neighbour's house, rang the number, and that was me, had a job.
That was how I got really involved.
But we never auditioned together.
We didn't audition
No,
together.
we never did. I remember that. And then, because I think we met after we both were cast, and then we met. And I remember going out with you and meeting you and talking with Gordon. I think there was me, you and Gordon. We had a big chat about it. And that's my memory of it. And then we started sort of immediately, didn't we? We didn't have any...
Yeah, we started really, really quickly, and
yeah.
It was just incredible that all of a sudden we were into it.
Are you with us tonight?
What? What's happening?
Louis says we're going down the North End.
What for?
Thing for idiot, we're going after the Swan Jacks. I might have to look after our Maureen's baby tonight. No, Mara, you're Maureen, she'd look after the kids. Yeah, well, my mum might be going to bingo. Your man lives in the friggin' bingo. Legs 11, you call it.
Whoa, yes!
Stop you dickhead.
Pufter!
You're the puffer, Dixon. You two are always together, aren't you, Ray?
You call me a puffer rabbit and you're dead.
Gordon Fleming is a director, sadly now no longer with us, but I mean, I admired him enormously. I mean, I think he was one of the most talented directors of his era. I think he was a very tough individual, Scotsman, and very, very tough. But it was a sort of gruff love. He loved actors, but he also loved to shout at them.
And I remember going on set and doing some of the early scenes in Liverpool. And I'd been up the night before and I wasn't too good with the lines. And then I remember Gordon getting hold of me. Hey, Sonny, you can't be like this. You've got to behave yourself if you're going to do this shoot.
There was never any messing around. You had to go for it. Yeah.
That was it. And then I realised that you really had to focus. Otherwise, because I thought it was going to be, well, I can relate to the character. I thought it was going to, and then I realised, even so I could relate to the character and certain things to do with the character, making a TV show, a 5-hour TV show,
it's very.
It takes a lot of
It is
focus.
still now. I mean, I think, you know, my thing now is the fact that, you know, your schedule for TVs are completely different from schedules for film. You know, you don't have any luxury. You just get on and you do it.
The easy thing about it was, you know, we were all people who just left school, playing kids who had just done last year of school. There was no huge stretch of imagination in terms of character development and anything else. So the character I play is just a little tearaway who has yet to grasp the moral implications of what he does, so he just does what he does.
They weren't going to allow us to mess around.
No, there was no messing around.
I think it was going to be like, you know, these guys are going for an... I think that was smart on Gordon and Keith's, because they, you know, they couldn't have time for us to mess around, really, could they?
Not at all, no, they weren't allowed, and also, or anybody, I mean, they just, you know, I don't remember us having many takes and things like that. I think we just got on and did it, didn't we?
Yeah, and I think it
And
also
Gordon
allowed serendipity, didn't it?
Yeah, and Gordon's nature was to get on and do it, you know what I mean? He didn't want to intellectualise it and talk about it, he just wanted to do it, really.
We just had, you know, it was a lot of fun. Gordon Fleming, who directed it, was, you know, a good man to be around. We were shot on film, so it was a great experience in terms of learning some craft. It was shot single camera. It was shot like a film. So we you know, pretty early on, you started having to think, not just about what you were doing, but about the technique, which was completely brand new to us. You know what I mean? So I learned a lot from doing that.
There's many stories about, great stories about Gordon. I remember, again, and being slightly young and immature, I remember the opening scene in Liverpool. Maybe I'll leave this one till later, but I remember being at the station when we go up and you asked for the ticket, and I was a drunk guy in the station, and I was really pissed, and I remember saying to Gordon, why don't we get that guy? And Gordon himself had been a drinker, and he said to me, that's the last fucking thing in the world I need, son. And I was like, all right, you know, I'm sorry, mate. It was one of those scenarios.
Right.
Don't fuck with me, son.
Yeah, he told you what he thought, yeah. But he was also very gentleman as well. I mean, he was a very sort of sensitive guy, I thought. I mean, he was someone, he really did look after us, didn't he?
I was going to say that, he really cared for us.
You know, and he
looked over our shoulders, didn't he? And didn't
really
let
did.
anyone mess with us.
Yeah, and he was very aware. He didn't want production to get involved with us, you know. So if you ever saw producers coming up and have a chat with you, you'd be like, get out of the way. And, you know, they were my boys. And that's exactly who we were. We were his boys. And he sort of, you know, if he said jump, we'd say how high. That was the end of it, you know. I mean, we loved him. And he did. He took us under our wing, you know, and he really looked after us.
In a split second, they saw me life fly past me. And you know something? I'm still bleeding for it.
Come on, we better go. If they find out we're on our own, they'll come back for us. Good, we can take them.
Oh, yeah, 4 of us taking on the whole crew.
We can.
I've had enough for you tonight. You caused that.
It's all right, Louis. It's a skin wound.
Yeah, they only got to play that for show. You opened your big fat mouth and panicked him.
Billy wouldn't have shouted. It would have stuck in me belly.
You caused that, and now you want to go after them. Why are you trying to play the hero, Billy? I'm not. It's after my chair, and you want to lead this mob?
No.
The biggest disappointment for me was the writer not being involved on the project in one respect, because obviously I was a big fan of his, and that was a little disappointing.
Sadly, he felt that we had not done as good a job as we should have done. And I think it revolved around the casting, principally. Our Gordon Fleming, the director, and myself felt very strongly that the kids that we cast had to have some commitment to acting. Whereas Willie felt we should have gone for completely untested, untried kind of material. A 5-hour commitment to filming is like 3.5 months' work, and it would just have been asking an awful lot of kids who didn't actually want to be actors.
Willie had decided that the only, as a writer, the only power he had was to take his name off it, and that's what he did. And I've never really had a chat with, I've never had that conversation with him about why he did that. But for me as the actor in the middle of it, that was not my concern. It wasn't my job. It wasn't, I couldn't let that affect me. And what you had to do is just do the best you could with the great script he'd written. So it wasn't, I decided not to let it bother me really.
Well, I'd like to think that all the cast that we used, had found it a life-changing experience. It was certainly quite cathartic for Gordon and myself. I mean, I loved working with Gordon. I suspect all the cast did as well. And I think it was just one of these things that will live with one for a very long time.
Liverpool is a very small village, you know what I mean? It used to be a big city. So pretty much everyone watched it, everyone you knew watched it, and people's mums watched it. It was one of those programs that people could watch as a family. No, not that it was family-oriented piece of programming, but there was no age bar. So pretty soon a lot of people, in a very short space of time, knew and had seen you in it and commented on it, good and bad, really.
I was not aware of the impact it would have. I don't think anybody was. And even now, when I go back to Liverpool now, I mean, kids come, their dads must have videoed it and they had it on video, and they come up to us and they run out and they say, "You're Billy," and I'm like, well, yes, you're 14, 13, 14, how do you know? So it has that impact, and guys my age, when I go home, they still talk about it, and I meet people all the time who are, it obviously had, for me it was a life-changing experience because of just work and getting me recognised as an actor, but it obviously struck a chord with a lot of people because they it's the thing they remember.
I think when you do something special in life, as I get older, you realise and you can look back on certain milestones, and for me, One Summer was a milestone. It allowed me to get into the world I wanted to be involved in, which was film. It also was just a brilliant experience, and it happened so quickly. But when you taste something really special, which was what I did with One Summer and Dave did and Ian, you don't want that taste to turn sour, and you want that taste to stay in your mouth. And that's what the show did for me. It made me really want to be involved in that world, in the world of film. And it also just allowed us to learn so much over a very, very short period. To be a joint lead, and I was a joint lead, in a 5-hour TV series is a wonderful opportunity for any young man, especially a young guy coming out of Liverpool who didn't really know a lot about things but what was inside his native city. So it, allowed me to grow as a human being.
My reaction to the DVD being released is about time, because it's been a long time. And a lot of people have asked me where they can get it and how they can get hold of it and stuff like that, and where they can see a copy. And so it's great that it's coming out now, I think. And also the fact that, I can, in a purely selfish way, I can show it to my children and relive those times, really. And also the big thing for me, the really big thing for me is that James Hazeldine, who plays Kidder, he died a couple of years ago. And he was a great mate of mine, Jimmy, and a really great influence on my career and my life, really. So I think for him, it's a testament to him and what a great actor he was. I'm really, really proud to have been associated with him. So it's great that it's coming out.